Listen up, because I'm about to drop a truth bomb that could change your pathetic little life forever. You wake up every day scrolling through your phone, dreaming of success, but you're one step away from total failure. Broke, alone, and irrelevant. What if I told you there's one thing, just one unbreakable force that separates the winners from the losers? It's not money, it's not luck, and it's definitely not your excuses. Today, we're diving into the one thing that saves you from failure, and by the end, you'll either step up or stay stuck in mediocrity. Buckle up. This isn't feel-good fluff. This is war. Picture this. You're in the ring, life throwing punches left and right, bills piling up, dreams slipping away, and that voice in your head whispering, "You're not good enough." Hook, what if I said the knockout blow, the thing that saves you every single time, is discipline? Yeah, discipline. The iron will to do what needs to be done, even when you feel like quitting. Andrew Tate here, and I've built empires on this foundation. I didn't get rich by hoping. I got rich by forcing myself to grind when others slept. Failure isn't some random curse. It's what happens when you let weakness win. But discipline, that's your shield, your sword, the one thing that turns "I can't" into "watch me." Let me paint a picture for you weaklings out there. You're scrolling Instagram, envying the top one, but you're too lazy to hit the gym or study your craft. Hook, imagine waking at 5 a.m., cold shower hitting your face like a slap from reality. And instead of hitting snooze, you attack the day. That's discipline saving you from the failure pit. I remember days in my Bugatti, plotting moves while others partied. Discipline kept me focused, turned pain into power. Without it, you're just another statistic. 99% of people fail because they chase distractions. But you, with discipline, you're unbreakable. It's the one thing that says no to temptations, no to laziness, and yes to legacy. Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't about robotic routines. It's about owning your mind. Hook, ever felt that fire in your gut, that rage against settling for less? Discipline fans those flames into an inferno. I've faced betrayals, losses that would have crushed lesser men, but I disciplined my thoughts. No pity parties, no victim mentality. You train it like a muscle. Start small, push harder, read a book instead of Netflix, lift weights instead of whining. Failure lurks in every excuse, but discipline slams the door. It's what got me out of the matrix, escaping the 9-5 slave trap. Apply it and watch failure run scared. Think about the greats. Warriors, kings, moguls, they all had it. Hook, what if your biggest failure tomorrow is just a test of your discipline? I built my life on this. Wake early, work relentlessly, review every mistake without tears. You want freedom, financial, mental, total domination? Discipline delivers. It saves you from the trap of instant gratification, that dopamine hit from likes and lies. I've seen brothers fall, good guys, smart guys, because they lack the grit to persist. But not you, not if you listen. Forge discipline now or regret it when you're 50, broken, bitter. Brothers, the world's full of quitters, but winners? No more fragmented starts where emails derail you or breakfast turns into a 2-hour distraction. Instead, pure execution flows like a well-oiled machine, crushing procrastination underfoot and propelling you toward victories that lesser men can only envy. I built my fortune this way. Dawn patrols of focus, where every push-up, every calculated move stacked into unbreakable momentum, proving that lazy mornings aren't rest. They're rehearsals for regret. Now let's get real. The grind isn't glamorous at first. It's gritty. It's lonely, with sweat stinging your eyes and doubts clawing at your resolve. But Hook, what if that very discomfort is the forge where your greatest self emerges, hammer strikes turning soft iron into steel? Engage with it professionally by tracking your progress. Journal the energy surge after a disciplined dawn. Note how ideas flow freer when you've honored the ritual, and adjust ruthlessly, because embracing the grind means evolving, not enduring. Think of icons like the early rising titans of industry, from Buffett plotting moves at sunrise to athletes dominating arenas through pre-dawn drills. They all know that relentless force isn't sporadic, it's daily, habitual, a compound interest of effort that failure can't outpace. You too can claim this. Start small if you must. A 5 a.m. wake up with a 10-minute meditation to center your warrior spirit, but scale it, intensify it until the grind becomes your gravitational pull, drawing success inexorably toward you. Excuses? They're the enemy whispering sweet nothings about tomorrow, but discipline roars back. Today is the day you conquer. And in that clash, you emerge victorious. Your morning's no longer lazy, but legendary. Delve deeper into the psychology. Science backs this dawn assault, showing how early risers harness circadian rhythms for peak productivity. cortisol spiking not in stress, but in sharpened focus. Hook, imagine failure as a shadow that lengthens with every delayed start, but your daily grind shortens it to nothing, illuminating paths to wealth, health, and dominance that once seemed impossible. Make it engaging by infusing variety, alternate runs with strategic planning sessions, podcasts on mastery fueling your stride, but always with that core of relentless force, no half measures. I've coached brothers worldwide, watching them transform from snooze button slaves to dawn dominators. Their business is booming, bodies chiseled, confidence radiating like the sun they greet first. Professionalism shines here. Dress for the grind even in solitude. Speak affirmations that affirm your unbreakable will and execute with precision, because this isn't chaos, it's calculated conquest. As the days stack, so does the evidence. Fewer failures, more breakthroughs. Your life a testament to the power of starting strong. Embrace it fully, attack without mercy, and watch how discipline's daily grind rewires your destiny from defeat to dynasty. Imagine the battlefield inside your skull right now, where a pathetic whisper drones on about why you'll never make it, too tired, too broke, too ordinary, and it's dragging you straight into the abyss of failure before you even swing a punch. Hook, what if that voice wasn't your truth, but just a coward's echo you could silence forever with the iron grip of discipline? Mastering your mindset starts here, brothers, by commanding your thoughts like a general over his troops, shutting down defeatist noise with ruthless precision, and forging an unbreakable drive that catapults you beyond every wall life hurls your way. Andrew Tate doesn't tolerate mental sabotage. I've crushed it in the ring and the boardroom, turning what could have been my downfall into fuel for dominance, because a warrior's mind isn't a democracy. It's a dictatorship where discipline rules supreme. Dive deeper. That weak voice thrives on chaos, feeding off distractions like social media scrolls and half-hearted efforts. But discipline steps in as the enforcer, training your brain to filter garbage and amplify power. Hook, ever caught yourself spiraling into "I can't" during a workout or a tough negotiation, only to wonder how champions push through unscathed? The secret is self-mastery. Start by auditing your daily thoughts, jotting down the negatives that sabotage you, then reframing them with brutal honesty. Not yet becomes "watch how I conquer this today." Professionally, this means structured rituals. Morning affirmations bark like orders. "I am unbreakable, failure fears me," paired with visualization sessions where you replay victories in vivid detail, rewiring neural pathways from doubt to destiny. I've done it myself, staring down betrayals that would have broken lesser men. But by disciplining my focus, I transformed rage into strategy, building empires while others wallowed. Now, consider the science backing this conquest. Neuroplasticity proves your brain reshapes with consistent effort, so discipline isn't magic. It's muscle, honed through deliberate practice that starves weakness and starves it fast. Hook, picture this. You're facing a deadline that terrifies you, heart pounding. But instead of fleeing discipline commands, breathe, break it down, execute, turning panic into productivity that leaves competitors in the dust. Engage it engagingly by layering in resilience builders. Journal failures not as scars, but as scouts reporting enemy positions, then charge forward with adjusted tactics, because a mastered mindset doesn't dodge obstacles, it demolishes them. In my world, this meant rejecting victimhood after losses, analyzing every misstep without pity, and emerging sharper, wealthier, freer. Discipline is the blade that carves doubt into drive. Push further into ownership. True professionals own their mental realm, setting smart goals that align thoughts with action. Specific targets like double my revenue this quarter that anchor wandering minds. Hook, what happens when you let discipline patrol your positivity, catching every maybe later and converting it to now or never. It unleashes a cascade, confidence surges, decisions sharpen, and that unbreakable drive propels you past plateaus, from gym gains to business breakthroughs. I've mentored warriors who started as mental messes, drowning in self-doubt, but through disciplined mindset drills, meditation marathons, no excuse accountability, they now command rooms and fortunes. No more whispering defeats, instead, a roaring affirmation of potential realized, where every thought serves the empire you're building. Refine it relentlessly. Incorporate feedback loops, reviewing mental wins weekly to amplify what's working, because mastery demands evolution, not stagnation. Hook, imagine failure as a mirage, shimmering but substanceless, dissolved by the heat of your disciplined gaze. Suddenly, Obstacles aren't barriers, but benchmarks on the path to glory. This professional edge means balancing toughness with clarity, pause amid chaos to center on core values, wealth, legacy, power, ensuring thoughts fuel forward motion, not frantic flailing. From my battles, I know the transformation is visceral, doubt fades, drive ignites, and you propel past every hurdle, not as a survivor, but as a sovereign. You know that rush, that electric buzz when you're fired up and ready to conquer the world, only for it to vanish like smoke when the alarm blares or the deadline looms. Hook, what if I told you motivation is the ultimate con artist, promising glory but delivering ghosts, while discipline is the no-nonsense enforcer that drags you to victory even when your body's screaming surrender? Ignoring the feels and acting anyway is the core of elite performance, brothers. Discipline doesn't wait for your emotions to catch up. It commands you to train through exhaustion, grind through the work, and seize wins from the jaws of defeat, fortifying your empire against failure's sneaky invasions. In my world, I've stared down fighters twice my size, heart pounding with fear, but I didn't let the butterflies dictate the round. I acted, struck first, and dominated, proving that feelings are fleeting traitors, but disciplined action is eternal. Consider the trap so many fall into, chasing that motivational high from podcasts or gym hype videos, only to bail when soreness sets in or results lag. Hook, ever started a project on a wave of inspiration only to watch it crash when reality hits? Bills, boredom, breakdowns. Discipline flips the script, forcing you to lace up those sneakers at 6 a.m. despite the drag of a late night, or hammer out that business proposal when doubt clouds your vision, because success isn't about feeling good, it's about doing the damn work, consistently, no matter the internal storm. Professionally, this means architecting your life around non-negotiable routines. Block your calendar for deep work blocks, immune to mood swings, and treat every session like a high-stakes boardroom battle where showing up half-hearted isn't an option. I've built multi-million-dollar ventures this way, pushing through jet lag on international deals, ignoring the ache of betrayal, because acting anyway turns potential pitfalls into power plays. Ensuring failure stays on the outside looking in, delve into the psychology. Motivation spikes dopamine for quick hits, but it crashes hard, leaving you vulnerable. Discipline, however, rewires your brain's executive functions, planning, impulse control, through repeated action, building resilience that outlasts any emotional dip. Hook, picture yourself in the trenches of a grueling workout, legs burning, mind yelling quit, but discipline whispers, one more rep, and suddenly you're not just surviving, you're sculpting a physique and mindset that crushes competitors. To engage this professionally, start with micro commitments, commit to 5 minutes of action. When motivation ghosts you, write one email, do one push up, and watch momentum snowball. As studies show this, action precedes motivation, loop sustains, progress far better than waiting for the spark. In the ring of life, I've ignored the feels during financial free falls, forcing calls to investors when despair knocked, and emerged richer, wiser, unbreakable. Discipline as the bridge from broken to boss. Now, amplify it. Surround yourself with accountability systems, trackers that log your act anyway wins, or partners who call out your excuses, because isolation lets feelings fester, but structure starves them. Hook, what happens when you treat tiredness not as a stop sign, but as a signal to accelerate, powering through a study session or sales pitch with laser focus, transforming I'm too drained into I'm too driven to fail? This engaging shift demands self-compassion too. Acknowledge the fatigue without indulging it, then pivot to execution, fostering mental toughness that pros swear by for long-haul triumphs. From my experiences coaching elite minds, those who master this ignore the feels doctrine, don't just win races. They redefine them, turning tired Tuesdays into takeover days, work woes into wealth waves. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about subordinating them to your will, ensuring every tired step, every broken moment forges an empire impervious to failure's grasp. Ever felt like your life is a leaky bucket where every burst of effort drains away because you can't seal the cracks with consistency? Hook, what if those small daily choices weren't random drops, but the very bricks stacking your fortress against failure, turning fleeting tries into an unbreakable empire? Building habits that last demands you stack small wins into an iron routine, gym sessions that sculpt your body, hustle hours that build your bank, and relentless repeats that forge discipline's chains. Binding success so tightly to your existence that quitters watch from the shadows, envious and extinct. In the arena of true warriors, I've learned this the hard way. Kickboxing rounds weren't won on talent alone, but on drilled habits, shadowboxing at dawn, reviewing tapes nightly, habits that propelled me from the ring to real estate riches, where every property flip started with the habit of scouting deals daily, no exceptions. Think about it. Most chase big leaps, but pros know momentum builds from micro victories, like committing to one focused hour of skill building each morning, whether coding for your app or lifting for that commanding presence. Hook, imagine starting your day, not with overwhelm, but with a single non-negotiable win. A 10-minute meditation centering your millionaire mindset, watching it cascade into a full routine of gym grind followed by business blueprints where disciplines forge tempers weakness into wealth. Professionally, architect this by auditing your week, identify leaks like mindless scrolling, replace them with habit anchors. Pair your coffee with contract reviews or your commute with cold calls, creating a chain reaction where gym endorphins fuel afternoon hustles and consistent repeats compound into passive income streams like Tate's diversified portfolio of rentals and crypto. I've stacked these myself. Post-fight, when motivation waned, I habituated early calls to networks, turning casual chats into casino investments that now print money while I sleep, proving habits aren't chores, they're currency. Delve into the mechanics. Habits wire your brain via the basal ganglia, automating excellence so effort feels effortless, but it starts small. Track streaks in a journal, celebrate subtly without indulgence, and scale ruthlessly from 20 push-ups to full circuits that mirror the endurance needed for multi-million ventures. Hook. What happens when you ignore the quitter's couch and repeat gym, hustle, repeat for 21 days straight, feeling the chains tighten as your physique sharpens and deals close faster, leaving failure chained in the basement? Engage it by layering accountability. Join or build a brotherhood for mutual check-ins. Just as Tate preaches pooling strengths for asset grabs, ensuring your routine isn't solo but synergistic, amplifying wins across fitness, finances, and focus. In my empire building days, this meant habitual diversification, daily scans of Web3 trends leading to NFT launches that exploded revenue, habits that outlasted scandals and built anti-fragile wealth where one stream's dip is buffered by others, refined professionally, use tools like apps for habit tracking, setting reminders that bark orders, execute now, and review quarterly, tweaking for efficiency, because lasting habits evolve, absorbing feedback like a business absorbing markets. Hook, picture failure as a wolf at your door, but your iron routine, stacked wins of dawn workouts fueling deal closing drives, builds walls it can't breach, transforming you from dreamer to dominator. I've seen brothers I mentored falter without this. One skipped habit audits, lost his edge in Hustlers university-style courses, another stacked relentlessly, scaling from 0 to 6 figures in e-commerce, no more dust for quitters, your chains bind legacy, gym forged strength for negotiations, hustle honed skills for scalability, repeats that repeat riches, discipline's ultimate alchemy. Ever caught yourself scrolling through feeds of so-called friends living it up at clubs, posting their fleeting highs while your disciplined grind keeps you buried in books and blueprints, wondering if you're the fool for choosing the long game? Hook, what if those party scenes are just illusions, smokescreens for souls already faltering, while your persistent fire forges a legacy that silences every doubter before they can utter a word? Outlasting the doubters means embracing disciplined persistence as your secret weapon. While they chase dopamine spikes and crash into regret, you transform every pang of isolation and effort into raw power, proving to the world and your inner circle that failure doesn't stand a chance against the indefatigable top G mindset. I've walked this path, brothers, kicked out of the spotlight, labeled a has-been by the masses, but my refusal to party away the pain, choosing instead late-night strategy sessions and dawn patrols, turned betrayal into billions, showing that persistence isn't punishment, it's the premium on your future empire. Picture the scene, crowds reveling under neon lights, drowning doubts in drinks, but you're in the shadows, lifting weights that build not just muscle, but mental armor, your persistence, a quiet roar that echoes louder than their noise. Hook. Imagine the doubters' jaws dropping when you're consistent hustle. Networking while they nap, investing while they indulge, catapults you past their plateaus. Pain alchemized into power that makes their falters look like footnotes in your success story. Professionally, this outlasting demands self-awareness as the foundation. Audit the voices around you, the naysayers who project their fears, and distance yourself ruthlessly, channeling that energy into daily disciplines like mindfulness meditations that sharpen focus amid chaos. In my battles, from kickboxing knockouts to courtroom comebacks, I outlasted critics by practicing self-control, breathing through the urge to retaliate, instead redirecting fury into fuel for ventures like Hustlers University, where persistence turned pain from legal wars into a platform empowering thousands. Deep in it, persistence thrives on self-discipline's bedrock. Set boundaries that bar distractions, prioritize goals with unyielding routines, and resist temptations that tempt the weak. Because true power blooms from the soil of sustained effort, not sporadic sprints. Hook, what happens when you view pain not as punishment, but as the forge, hammering your resolve while doubters' parties dissolve into hangovers of unfulfilled potential? Engage this by incorporating positive affirmations daily. I outlast, I overcome, I dominate, visualizing victories that drown out the doubters. Din, rewiring your brain for resilience that turns every "you can't" into "watch me." I've mentored men who started as party animals, faltering under peer pressure, but through persistent self-education, devouring books on mastery while others bragged about nights out, they built businesses that now fund freedoms the doubters envy. Emotional intelligence plays key too. Harness those isolation blues into empathy for your future self, regulating reactions to skepticism with calm conquest, ensuring persistence propels you forward, pain powering progress. Elevate professionally. Surround yourself with a high-caliber network that mirrors your grind. Mentors who demand accountability, not applause, because outlasting isn't solitary, it's strategic, leveraging collective persistence to amplify your edge. Hook, envision failure bowing low as your disciplined days stack into decades of dominance. Doubters reduced to spectators of your rise. Their falters forgotten in the blaze of your breakthrough. Continuous learning fuels this fire. Seek seminars on resilience, adapt to setbacks like a warrior, evolving tactics, and maintain physical vitality, exercise, nutrition, rest as the engine for enduring outperformance. From my empire's front lines, persistence through property portfolios and crypto conquests showed me that while others party and perish, the persistent prevail, pain transmuted into the power that proves you're built for the throne. Ever stared into the mirror and seen not a king in the making, but a shadow of what could be, chained by the mediocrity that whispers you'll never rise? Hook, what if discipline wasn't a chain but your crown, the lethal blade slicing through the fog of average existence to carve out a legacy that echoes eternally? Owning your legacy now demands you treat discipline as non-negotiable weaponry. Seize it with both fists today. Grind through the fire without flinching and witness failure, scattering like roaches before dawn as you ascend the throne destiny reserved for the relentless. In the brutal arena of life, I've claimed mine, from underground fighter scraping by to global icon shattering the matrix. It was discipline's merciless edge that slayed my own doubts, turning a broke kid's dreams into a diversified empire of properties, businesses, and unbreakable influence. Consider the mediocrity monster it slays. That sneaky beast feeds on half measures, late starts, and good enough attitudes, but discipline wields the sword of consistency, hacking it down with daily executions that build not just wealth but wisdom. Hook, imagine waking tomorrow not as a spectator to others' successes, but as the architect of your own saga, seizing the day with a non-negotiable routine of skill mastery and bold risks, watching mediocrity bleed out as your actions compound into a narrative of triumph. Professionally, this ownership starts with legacy mapping to find your throne, financial freedom, family fortress, or world-changing impact. Then arm yourself with smart disciplines, specific targets like networking 10 power players weekly or auditing finances monthly, ensuring every grind stroke etches your name into history. I've lived this blueprint. Post-fight fame faded fast, but seizing discipline meant grinding online courses into Hustlers University, a platform now arming thousands against mediocrity, proving that optional effort yields ordinary outcomes while merciless ownership forges legends. Push deeper. Discipline's weapon sharpens through accountability arsenals, mentors who probe your progress, journals that log every conquest, and environments stripped of distractions, because legacy isn't inherited. It's hammered out in the solitude of self-imposed sieges. Hook, what if your biggest regret at 80% isn't the falls, but the times you chose comfort over conquest, letting mediocrity claim the throne while discipline waited in vain? Engage it by infusing urgency, treat today as trial by fire, auditing excuses like a CEO slashing dead weight, and replace them with power habits. Early. Rises for strategic planning, cold outreach for alliances that propel you from pawn to player. In my rise, discipline slew the mediocrity of 9-to-5 slavery. I grinded crypto trades and content empires while doubters dozed, claiming a legacy of luxury cars and lasting lessons that failure fled from. Terrified of the man I became, refine the wheel, balance the blade with self-compassion, acknowledge grind's toll without surrender, fueling recovery with rest that recharges the warrior, because sustainable discipline sustains legacies, not burnout. Hook, picture failure as a pretender to your crown, but your seized discipline, grinding without mercy through market crashes or personal pitfalls, forces it to kneel, unveiling the throne where your name gleams in gold. Professionally, measure strikes by milestones, quarterly reviews of empire expansions, whether scaling e-com or sculpting influence, ensuring the weapon evolves, slaying new forms of mediocrity like complacency or competition. Brothers I've elevated echo this, one seized it post-divorce, grinding real estate flips into family fortresses, another from cubicle chains, built apps that print freedom, discipline as the equalizer, claiming thrones, mediocrity, mocked. Own it now, grind eternally, and let your legacy roar. So rise up. The one thing that saves you from failure is discipline. Grab it with both hands and never let go. Go build your empire, escape the matrix, and live like the king you were born to be. Top G out.